All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. Ravens flock, let's talk receivers. We've got a new one on the Baltimore block. The Ravens officially announced the signing of wide receiver Demarcus Robinson. In fact, he practiced today, so he participated in his first practice with the Ravens. He's already accustomed, he's already ready to go, and the Ravens are hopeful that he can be able to contribute to this passing game. So we'll see what he can do. Obviously, he's going to be on the team. They don't pay somebody. You don't pay a free agent receiver if he's not going to play. So he's going to be on this roster, and they're hopeful that he can be able to produce and provide them with something when it comes to the passing game. How much is he going to provide? Well, we'll find out. But Demarcus Robinson is officially a Ravens, and I gotta say, there has been a lot of mixed feelings about this signing. Me personally, I was a little surprised to see the Ravens make this signing, but at the end of the day, it made sense. I originally thought they weren't going to get a free agent receiver, but since both Tylan Wallace and James Prochet went down during the time of this signing, it made sense. You know, those two got injured during training camp. They missed some time. Ravens decided they got to go get a receiver, get a veteran, bring him in free agency. They were discussing it with Demarcus Robinson, got a contract done, and he was brought back in. Good news, though, Tylan Wallace is back at practice, but it made sense to go get somebody else because, you know, you got two of your receivers dealing with injury. Prochet was not practicing today. I don't think he's going to practice at all this week. We'll see. You know, it did say he was going to be out 1 to 2 weeks, so maybe he returns later this week, or maybe we'll see him sometime early next week at practice. Who knows? Either way, during the time of this discussion and signing of Demarcus Robinson, both those guys were injured. They were not practicing, so they had to go get somebody else. But yeah, Demarcus Robinson, he's a Raven. He gets added to this receiving core, which honestly needed some veterans. We really needed some veterans. This is a young receiving core. You got a bunch of second and third year receivers here. There was no veterans. Demarcus Robinson immediately comes in and becomes that veteran receiver. He's 27 years old, so he's easily the oldest receiver on the roster. Yeah, you needed a guy like that. Now, of course, there was some mixed feelings. I saw a lot of negativity towards this signing because it's like, you don't go and get some of the top guys. You don't trade for one of the top guys, but you go out and get Demarcus Robinson, a guy he's solid, but he's not good and he's not great. So, like, what are you doing, Ravens? You're not providing us with the receivers we need. You're not providing us with the weapons Lamar needs. I was hearing all sorts of negativity towards this signing, which again makes sense. You know, a lot of Ravens fans do not like the receiving core we have. They do not believe in the receiving core, and I don't blame them. You know, I'm not one of the Ravens flock that's just putting a lot of high praise on these guys. I have some optimism towards them being able to produce and, you know, be able to have a great year as a receiving core. But at the same time, I'm a realist. It's my job to keep it real. These guys are unproven. I can't just put all this faith to say they're going to ball out. They haven't shown anything. Who knows what Duvernay's going to do? Who knows what Prochet's going to do? Bateman, he has all the talent in the world. We believe he can be a true number one receiver, but we're not sure. He has to prove it. So that's kind of just where me and a lot of other people are at. They just got to prove it. We're optimistic about the receiving core, but we can't just put all our faith and say they're going to ball out just because we're fans of the team. So yeah, you know, that's where the negativity has been because of the receiving core. And adding Demarcus Robinson did not exactly improve or at least dismiss those criticisms. So yeah, a lot of people did not like this signing. Just adding another veteran that, again, is not really going to provide you much, at least in terms of the belief of the fans. But let's speak on that, in fact. Demarcus Robinson gets added to the receiving core. Questions do arise. How much is he going to contribute to the passing game? How much is he going to contribute to the offense? And in all honesty, does this signing dramatically improve the receiving core? Better yet, how much does it improve the receiving core? If it's not a dramatic improvement, which of course I don't think anyone believes Demarcus Robinson is changing the perspective of the receiving core that Baltimore has there, but he does improve it. How much does he improve it though? That is the question. Demarcus Robinson, like I said, 27 years old. He had a couple seasons in which he played under Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Ravens fans know Demarcus Robinson very, very closely because whenever he played us, he would smoke our secondary. So, he may not be a star, but when he played the Ravens defense, he balled out like a star receiver. So we know he has speed. We know he has the ability to get open. We know he can be productive in the receiving game. And now he's with us, so we hope he can do the same thing, but do it for Baltimore instead of against Baltimore. His stats don't exactly look as impressive as you would think he would be for a receiver that was having Patrick Mahomes throw him the football, but he was still productive with Kansas City, and honestly, he's not coming to Baltimore to be the number one receiver. There's a clear consensus that Rashad Bateman is the number one receiver on this roster. He is going to be that guy, and it's up to him to prove if he can do it. So, in terms of the wide receiver 1 spot, that's going to Bateman. But for the wide receiver 2 spot, who knows? Now, me personally, I believe there's a consensus that it's just Bateman, Duvernay, and Prochet. They take wide receiver 1 to wide receiver 3, and wide receiver 4 can go to Tyler Wallace. But now that Demarcus Robinson's here, I honestly believe Demarcus Robinson could be at that wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4 spot, depending on how productive he is in practice, how good he looks, and how much chemistry he's able to build with Lamar Jackson just before the regular season starts. If he looks impressive and far and just amazing, maybe he could potentially fight for that spot, for that wide receiver 2 or 3 spot. However, I don't think that's going to be the case for the Ravens. Lamar has been building chemistry with Bateman, Prochet, and Duvernay all throughout, both in the offseason and throughout training camp. I think that's your consensus 3. Demarcus Robinson's probably going to be at that wide receiver 4 spot, and then Tyler Wallace will drop to that wide receiver 5 spot. But yeah, that's just how I feel in terms of how he's gonna rank in the receiving room. He is that veteran presence, so they're going to utilize him. And, he definitely stays healthy, so he's going to be out there and playing a lot. But in terms of what he could provide and how much he can improve the receiving room, in all honesty, I don't think he improves it by that much. Now, we understand he's got speed, he's got the ability, he's obviously a very talented guy, and he could definitely contribute, especially him being potentially the wide receiver 4. So I mean, it's not like he's going to be going up against the top guys. Hell, he wasn't going up against the top corners when he was in Kansas City, and at times it worked out for him. He was able to get open downfield and make some great plays. Him and Patrick Mahomes connected consistently, but again, he didn't have the greatest of numbers. He wasn't a star receiver. He was solid, but he wasn't great. So him coming to Baltimore here, I think he's going to contribute. I think he's going to be able to provide something, and he does help improve the receiving room because he is a veteran that has been productive in this league. He's at least somewhat proven. He's proven to be a NFL receiver. That's not saying much. But yeah, I'll improve that by saying he's proven to be a really, really, really solid NFL receiver. So that at least shows that you're bringing in that veteran guy that can be productive within the offense, and he can get open downfield, and he can make plays in the receiving game. So he's at least proven. Everyone else on this roster is not proven. Bateman didn't have an opportunity to really prove himself in his rookie year. Injuries took him out for the first half, and then when he came back, Lamar ended up going down. So they didn't get to play that much. Duvernay and Prochet have barely gotten any playing time, so they haven't had the chance to prove themselves in the receiving game. Obviously, Devin Duvernay is a Pro Bowler via him being a return man, but he wants to prove himself in the receiving game, and Prochet just wants an opportunity to show what he can do. So, yeah, you got a receiving room that has no proven guys. Demarcus Robinson is proven. He's not a great player per se, but he is a really solid wide receiver that can be productive in an offense and be productive in the passing game. So I'm just saying, he adds that element to the Ravens. He adds a veteran presence and a guy that's at least proven. That's not saying much because, of course, the Ravens flock want a lot more. They want to have that true number one receiver that is proven. You wanted to get that via free agency. Obviously, when you take a look at the free agents that are out there, there's not really much to choose from. Hell, I still think it's a possibility this team ends up with T.Y. Hilton just because it's such a Ravens move. But right now, they haven't done it, so I'm kind of glad. They ended up getting Demarcus Robinson. We'll see how that works, but I don't know. T.Y. Hilton's such a Ravens type of move, but hopefully that doesn't happen. We'll see. I'm not completely against T.Y. Hilton being on the Ravens. It just feels that, the time that he could have been on the Ravens was last year, and it would have worked. I don't think it would work this year. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's not going to bother me, but it felt like the not even perfect, but a great time for T.Y. Hilton to have been on this offense would have been last season, especially because it was like Bateman was injured to start the season, so we could have used someone else, to go alongside Hollywood. And Sammy Watkins, his injury history, so, if you would have had T.Y. Hilton here, it would have been somewhat of an improvement, but not by that much, because at this stage, I don't think T.Y. Hilton's that guy to be that much of a game changer in the receiving room. But last year was probably the right time to have him. This year, I don't think that's the case, but wouldn't put it past the Ravens to go out and pick him up. Anyway, there's not much really out there when you look at free agency at this point. All the great receivers already been taken. They've either been taken or they stuck with their team. No trade happened, no movements happened. But yeah, there's not much great receiving talent out there. The only one that's left is obviously Odell, but Odell's not going to be playing for quite some time. Someone's going to be looking to pick him up in December, but as of right now, we're in August, so no. Yeah, Odell's still, getting himself back to where he needs to be. Obviously, he had the ACL tear in the Super Bowl, had to go through surgery, he's doing rehab, all this other stuff, getting himself back to where he wants to be, and then he'll probably go play. Somebody will look to pick him up in December, so be on the lookout for that. Doubt the Ravens are going to get him, but someone's going to be looking to pick up Odell, so I just didn't think the Ravens were going to get a veteran receiver, but when Wallace and Prochet started dealing with injuries and they ended up missing practice time, it made sense. But yeah, now that he's a Raven, I hope he can be very productive. He can be a huge contributor to the receiving core. I just hope that this guy balls out and just showcases most of, if not all of the talent he showcased when he went against us. You looked like a star receiver when you were going up against Baltimore. Now I need you to be a star receiver while you're playing for Baltimore. So we'll see if that ends up being the case here. But again, to answer the question, in terms of does Demarcus Robinson, does his signing or does his inclusion to the receiving core improve the receiving core as a whole greatly? No, I don't think it improves it greatly. But in terms of how much it improves it, it definitely improves it quite a bit. Not a lot, but quite a bit, because you're bringing in a veteran guy that's at least proven. We know what Demarcus Robinson can bring to the table. We saw it when he was in Kansas City, so we know what he can provide. But other than that, welcome to the Ravens, Demarcus Robinson. Welcome to the Ravens flock. I know we got some negative guys out there that are definitely down on you, but that's because the receiving core hasn't exactly performed great. Other than Hollywood, and Hollywood was constantly a controversial topic in Baltimore because of his hands. So yeah, if you come out here and you ball out, Ravens flock ain't gonna have any problem with you. But we'll see what happens with that. At least we have a veteran receiver now. He's easily the most experienced out of all these guys, and he's the oldest out of all these guys. So yeah, he's the veteran guy in that room. He's at least proven. He's a proven solid NFL receiver. You add that veteran presence. You're not drastically or dramatically improving the receiving core, but you do improve it quite a little bit. So, take that however you want to take it, Ravens flock. He's going to provide something here. Hopefully it's a lot, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, with that being said, that is all I've got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.